Today, I'd like to share with you a different paradigm, one that you may or may not have heard of, but that certain companies around the world are practicing very well, and they've turned out to be some of the most successful companies in the world. You'd almost say it's one of the best kept public secrets around. So this paradigm is not just a theory, it's based on 31 years of research as well, and quite a lot has been documented. In fact, I'm surprised that it hasn't become mainstream yet. Okay, and this journey, we at IQ Business in Cape Town have actually also begun this journey, and it is very much a journey to a new business paradigm. And with your permission, I'd like to share with you some of the things that we've gone through in that journey, some insights and some of the results we're seeing from that. Create a performance management system that's more about the dialogue and more about how you identify the problems rather than a marking and a ticking section, because otherwise you won't actually learn what their challenges are. Here's another example of the entrepreneurial plan, which is employee value. We've got two drivers there. One is entrepreneurial plan. The other one is a great place to do great work. We've started off with this one. And this one is an interesting one here. What we do is, and remember I spoke about entrepreneurs. I just want to go back one slide here, is how we came up with this is, the reason to understand customers is obvious. When we looked at financial value in our particular business, when somebody's on the bench, so to speak, they're not earning money, and so it destroys financial value. Some bright spark said, let's get them off the bench, let's have a bench action plan. Somebody else said, well, why don't we make sure they don't even come on the bench in the first place? So why are they on the bench? An employee mindset would be, I'm on the bench because sales didn't sell me, and I'll keep collecting my salary until I go somewhere else. An entrepreneur would say, well, maybe I'm on the bench because I have a skill for which there's no client demand. It doesn't have value for the customer. That's why I'm on the bench. Maybe I've got a performance issue. Maybe I don't have enough skills to be broadly deployable for multiple customers. So there's a lot of other reasons of why you could be on the bench. And that's where we came up with this idea of the entrepreneurial plan. And if you remember earlier, I was saying find a way of adding value in all the areas at the same time. The entrepreneurial plan does that. So to give you an idea here, what it does is it takes the passion and the skills, and it looks at the client, what's value to the client, and what is the demand coming out of that, and actually brings them together and looks at the overlap. So what's the overlap between these factors? Your passion, your skills, and the client need on an ongoing basis, because as we said, it's changing. And in those overlap areas, the question is, so where can I work on my passion and help the customer and bring financial value for the company that I work for? In the overlap areas, we ask them, what's the gap between where you are now and where you'd like to be, and so where you can add more value to you and more value to the customers. One thing I've got to make clear on this entrepreneurial plan, we do this much for people, we truly add value for them. In fact, because of the way we do it, because it's matched to the customer, we make them more employable in the marketplace. Huge danger. But we're gambling on the fact that if you're adding value to people, and if they're in an organization that adds value to them and is dedicated on an ongoing basis, why would they leave? And it's a chance we don't mind taking. Because like I was saying earlier about attracting and retaining staff, the one thing that was missing for me is attract, grow, retain. As long as we're growing people, people will come to us, and they've started. They started to come to us for less money because of this philosophy. And from there, quickly, out of the gap analysis is a roadmap. The roadmap has 4 key areas. What training they need. We pay for any training, because we know they've done this gap analysis, so we'll pay for it, because it's cheaper than if they're on the bench. What project exposure? Quite often people have dreams, but they keep it to themselves. If we know where they actually want to work, we can put them on those projects. What IP, what new stuff do they want to create? That's the third element. And the fourth element is we help them market themselves. We help them with their LinkedIn profiles. We help them how to go about writing blogs and all of these things. We want them to add value to themselves. Become You Inc. We always say we don't want people to join IQ Cape Town and become a branch on a tree. We want everyone to plant their trees side by side so that we grow a forest. So, like I said, make it about shared value and accountability. This is a quick example of performance measurement. So what we did, the first thing we did is all of these main drivers, we changed our performance measurement. It was essentially And I must say, we're very fortunate in the part, as a part of a large organization like ours, international organization. They've given us the freedom to develop this model in Cape Town and back it into the rest of the business. The traditional model, like most models, is 70% financial. At IQ Cape Town, it's only 30% financial. And it's 70% around, well, it's actually 35 customer, 35 employee. Those are the drivers. Financial is actually only an outcome. It's future value that we're working on. And then the other thing is we made sure that whatever measurements was there in the past that didn't align to the value profit chain, we changed all the KPIs into the pillars and the main areas. But when we launched this, we didn't make it about here's your new biannual, here's your new performance measurement system. We actually spoke first about the philosophy. What do you understand by the philosophy? We spoke about this years ago, the vision statement, but what do you understand by it? How do you live it, etc.? And then this is just, a way of reviewing it that's in alignment. It's not about the new system, is one of the tips that we found. The other thing we did was, I spoke about early performance management. What we did was instead of, because the one thing for me in performance management is that it's always too late. So we tend to use our performance measurement, like our biannuals, our yearly reviews, at the time to give feedback. And yeah, you see, we'll get them at the end of the year, or we'll get them 6 months, and they'll know next time. But actually, we've also lost. Because if we didn't tell them early enough, they couldn't have changed the behavior, and they couldn't have improved the situation. And by the way, we're sitting there thinking they're not performing. Maybe they've got a challenge why they can't do it. Have you asked? Have you had the dialogue? So we said, we want to change the way we do performance management. We want to make it regular. We want to make it so for us, it's actually every person meets with their manager once a month. And it's actually a discussion. You see some of the discussion elements here. It's obviously completely consistent with the 3 areas. And here are the main pillars. And you'll see here, it's really about the discussion. It's about helping them get better, understanding the obstacles, etc. But all the time, because you're reiterating, continuously reiterating this in the language, it actually, it also changes the behavior,